Hi, my name is Akmaris Nida Jayus, and I am a PhD student at Tun Abdul Razak University, Kuala Lumpur. Welcome to my session on Action Research Logic Model. Today, I will be speaking on using logic model approach to facilitate thinking and planning in TVET Action Research Program. I, I would like to introduce my research team, Supervisor Professor Dr. Boha Yusof, myself, Akmal, I'm the lead researcher, and Professor Dr. Johari Mat, our co-supervisor. So what is logic model? A logic model is essentially a systematic and visual way of presenting and sharing our understanding of the relationships between the resources we have to operate our program, the activities we plan, and the changes or results we hope to achieve. It is a visual representation of how we believe our program will work. It describes the sequence of activities thought to bring about change and how these activities are linked to the outcomes the program is expected to achieve using words and pictures. This is the six basic logic model from Kellogg 1998. It includes six components. The situation, which is the description of the problem that the project is designed to solve. Inputs, which are concrete resources that are invested in the project, such as funding, staffs, or office space. Outputs, which include things like activities or services that are delivered by the program, and the participation in these services by clients. Outcomes, which include short-term, intermediate, and long-term outcomes. External factors, which are circumstances in the environment that influence the program but over which the program has little control. Assumptions, which are conditions or resources that are needed for the success of the program. So logic models, when read from left to right, describe project fundamentals over time from planning to results, following the chains of reasoning or if-then statements that connect the project's parts is what reading a logic model entails. The diagram here depicts how to read the basic logic model. So we start with inputs. Certain resources are needed to operate our project. If we have access to them, then we can use them to accomplish our planned activities. If we accomplish our planned activities, then we will hopefully deliver the amount of product and or service that we intended. If we accomplish our planned activities to the extent we intended, then our participants will benefit in certain ways. If these benefits to participants are achieved, then certain changes in organizations, communities, or systems might be expected to occur. So planned work describes what resources we think we need to implement our program and what we intend to do. Intended results include all of the program's desired results, outputs, outcomes, and impact. In practice, most logic models are more complex and fall into one of these categories: the theory approach model, which is conceptual, outcome approach model, or activities approach model, which is applied, or a blend of several types. It is not unusual for a program to use all three types of logic models for different purposes. No one model fits all needs, so we will need to decide exactly what we want to achieve with our logic model and where we are in the life of our program before deciding on which model to use. So in this study, I'm using theory approach models, which emphasizes the theory of change that influence the program's design and plan. These logic models provide a rich explanation of why a program should start exploring an idea. It demonstrates how and why we believe our program will be successful. They are based on the big picture ideas and thoughts that went into conceptualizing our program. Theory approach models are increasingly being used to make the case in grant proposals, Models that detail the beginnings of a program are most useful during program planning and design, which is where I am right now. So, logic models are used in three ways in program design and planning to guide the process of creating a new program. In this capacity, logic models help demonstrate how and why a program might work and can be used to illustrate this to potential funders or other key stakeholders. So, in the program design and planning stage, logic models are also linked to program evaluation plans that describe how the outputs and the outcomes will be documented and measured. In program implementation, it is used to guide the management and monitoring of outputs and outcomes. So when used in this capacity, a program is normally has already taken place and a logic model is used to help manage and monitor how it is being implemented and also the outcomes that are being achieved. During this stage, a logic model may be revised or adapted to respond to changing circumstances or to new information that is learned during program implementation. In program evaluation and strategic reporting, logic models are used to communicate program success to stakeholders. In this capacity, logic models illustrate the outcomes of a program to key stakeholders and it serves as a tool to advocate for program expansion or continuation. Let's look at how logic model approach is used to facilitate thinking and planning in my TVET action research program. The first step to creating a logic model is to define the situation a program is designed to solve. Five questions can help guide this process. What is the problem? What caused this problem? Who is affected by this problem? Who cares of whether or not this problem is solved? What does existing research and experience tells us about how to solve these problems? When logic models are used in program design and planning stage, a community needs assessment usually helps to guide the process of defining the situation because it uses research methods and data to inform to program planners about things like who the target population is, the extent of the problem, the location, key stakeholders, and existing research and experience. So the situation I'm defining for the program begins with the issues of lack of institutional and industry collaboration. TVET policymakers, they frequently act in isolation, passing up opportunities for mutual learning and cooperation. And TVET knowledge is also dispersed across multiple websites, making it difficult for TVET practitioners to stay informed. These issues may be caused by not having a clear platform for the industry to engage with TVET institutes to provide input on curriculum and training content, training quality, apprenticeships, and also changes in industry needs. So this results in a mismatch between industry demands and the skills and quality levels of TVET graduates. Demographic data on those affected by this problem show that there were 162,000 unemployed graduates in 2018, which is 4.6% increase from 154,900 in 2017. The global spread of the COVID-19 pandemic is expected to increase the numbers of these unemployed graduates. So although both public and private institutions produce approximately 29,000 graduates, graduates in 2018, with numbers increasing year every year, the demand for this skilled workforce is outpacing supply. Manufacturing and service sectors such as food and beverage, art, entertainment and recreation, and other services such as beauty and salon are most affected. Key stakeholders are defined as people or organizations that have an investment in solving the problem through the program's activities. In this study, the stakeholders include government agencies such as CIAS, who receives the report of TVET graduate employability. These professionals are in charge of developing TVET education and training modules, as well as referring apprentices to TVET institutes for training. Other key stakeholders include professionals in TVET institutes who provide training services to apprentices, funders such as JPK who provide funding to deliver the training, and apprentices who participate in the trainings. Existing research and experience suggests that transformative social innovation can be a strategy as a process of changing social relations between industry and TVET institutes, involving challenges participation in identifying creative solutions through the creation of shared value, the empowerment of social value, and the creation of new forms of power relations. So, by mobilizing a process of social relations that challenge participation, SIAS and JPK as a change agent will alter Malaysian Tibet ecosystem, resulting in long-term societal impact. Furthermore, many studies have shown that collaborative digital platforms are effective in facilitating collaborative and crowd-based cooperation, knowledge sharing, and networking. So digital platforms have the potential to help the social innovation process. Thus, the digital platform will fundamentally change the nature of how SIAS and JPK operate and deliver value to the whole Tibet community. This pivot ensures against digital disruption, but most importantly, harness network effects to create, collaborate, market, deliver service, and distribute information. So now that we have the definition of situation, we want to ask the question, what would happen if this problem no longer existed? This is the long-term outcome of the program or the ultimate impact the program wants to have on the macro level. If our problem is a lack of a clear platform for industry to engage with TVET institutes, and Tibet policymakers work in silos, making it difficult to implement effective governance, then if these issues were resolved, the governance of the Tibet ecosystem would improve, partnerships with industry would increase, and NOS modules would be designed and developed in response to industry needs. In this logic model, these are the long-term outcomes. Next, we can identify the intermediate outcomes. These are the outcomes that must take place for the long-term outcome to occur. Changes in behavior, skills, or abilities are reflected in intermediate outcomes. For example, if long-term outcomes are achieved in the studies logic model, TVET policymakers must collaborate with industry to reform regulation and policy. The TVET community must be empowered through governance, social learning, resourcing, and monitoring, and training providers must have the skills to integrate curriculum and training content to meet industry needs. Then we can look at the short-term outcomes. These are the outcomes that must happen before the intermediate outcomes can occur. Changes in knowledge, feelings, attitudes, perceptions, and understanding are reflected in short-term outcomes. These changes are anticipated to occur prior to changes in behaviors, skills, and abilities. So, according to this logic model, if TVET policymakers collaborate with industry partners who are empowered to assist the TVET institutes in integrating curriculum and training content, then TVET policymakers must first have leadership knowledge as well as the attitude to collaborate with the industry to create shared value and strategies for community development. The industry must believe that this collaboration will provide them with skilled workforce that match their needs. The logic model output is the services being delivered and the participation of clients, who are the industry. In this study, the program will host a 2-day residential forum to discuss new developments such as bottom-up solution-driven strategies to encourage partnerships in Tibet. This forum will be open to the most affected industries. This forum will be followed by a workshop for Tibet policymakers, training providers, and industry to come up with innovative solutions for designing activity guides and effective instruments that will serve as a framework for collaboration. Their feedback will be used to develop and build user-driven collaborative digital platforms. So, if the agency provides this service and the industries most affected by a lack of skilled labor attend this forum and workshop, we can anticipate short, intermediate, and long-term outcomes. The inputs are the resources required for the program to function. The program in this study requires funding, a convenient location, technical resources to build digital platform, and transformative social innovation framework. External factors are larger events that are likely to have an impact on the program, but over which the program has little control. These factors can be resources or barriers, and they can help or hinder our program success. For example, in this study, external factors include industry response and the complexity of reforming regulation and policy. If the industry is not interested in providing feedback to help resolve mismatch a skilled workforce, the program must adapt to this change. Assumptions are conditions or resources required for the program's success. For this program to be successful, it requires funding, ongoing dialogue, a digital platform, and the implementation of a social innovation process. Additionally, the program's fundamental assumption is that mismatched skills are caused in part by a lack of industry contribution. This is the theory logic model, which I adapted from the W.K. Kellogg Foundation Logic Model Development Guide and modified by including a stage for creating shared value and developing innovative solutions. Why I use logic model in my action research? Because it provides stakeholders with a roadmap describing the sequence of related events connecting the need for the planned program with the program's desired results. And then it also allows stakeholders to try an idea and apply theories to a model of how the program would function. And it helps us visualize and understand how human and financial investment can contribute to achieving our intended program goals and can lead to program improvements. With that, I end my presentation. Thank you.